You can't see me winking, but I'm winking at you. It's gonna happen right now. So here it is, right now, without any pause or cut. So that means we have
Hey.
There he is. Our jock eye for the nerd guy, a man who would scarcely know a Pokeball from a stress ball, my brother Joshua Vinalas.
Nice. Happily, I've never needed a stress ball in my life before, so I don't even know what that looks like. So
perfect.
It's all good.
Just ignorance all around.
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't even met you yet, Josh, and I'm already.
Hey, who are we talking with today?
This is Jeff Mitchell.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Hey,
all right, so Jeff, your mission, which you have already chosen to accept because you're here and I'm telling you to do it, is to succinctly explain Pokemon to Joshua. Ready, set, go.
Ooh, Pokemon.
All right. So I think the first distinction I need to make here is that I completely ignore the animated part of Pokemon. It's not a cartoon to me. The cartoon can go die in a hole, as far as I'm concerned. Like I don't know why they did. I mean, I do know why. It was a business decision, and it worked out well for them. But it started as a video game. To me, it's always just going to be a video game. The cartoon is just way out there. Anyway, so get that off my chest. So imagine a world that's just teeming with animal life, and for whatever reason, they aggressively attack you whenever you go into tall grass.
Uh-oh.
And but fear not, because you actually have these sort of these devices for catching them that I'm pretty sure employs some kind of quantum mechanics, some wormhole technology to shrink them down into energy, or maybe just convert matter to energy. So they can go inside these little Pokeballs, and then the next time, so you can catch one. And the next time that one of these vicious creatures randomly attacks you while you're just minding your own business walking around, you can...
In tall grass.
You can pull out the one that you just caught and have it bludgeon the other one until it faints. But the great thing about it is these creatures love to do this, apparently. And so, and there happens to be sort of a national sport, a national pastime of competing to see who can bludgeon the other one's magical creatures until they faint before the other one can. So basically what I'm trying to say is Pokemon is... It's essentially dogfighting for people who don't actually want to hurt dogs.
We live in a time where we definitely don't want to talk about hurting dogs, folks. That's a very, 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 very hot topic.
See, and
but it's definitely not hurting dogs, right?
That's what's so great about Pokemon is you're not actually hurting anything tangible.
That's great.
And part of the lore is that these Pokemon love to battle. They love getting scraped up. And you can just quickly heal them whenever you want, and everything's fine. But I think for me, like, the main appeal of Pokemon is being an animal lover. There's so many different kinds, and they're just kind of like fantastic creatures. A lot of them have some supernatural abilities and such, and there's just so much variety. And when you get into competitive battling, so there's actually, which I'm not really into competitive battling, but because I don't really do it myself, but I'm familiar with the scene. There's actually like a fairly big, like, worldwide competitive battling scene with tournaments and everything every year. And the competitive part of it is actually very strategic. So a lot of people will look at Pokemon and be like, that's a kid's game. And to some extent, they definitely make it so that it appeals to kids. But there's a lot of like deeper like strategy involved where it's actually often been compared to chess, which I think chess fans will probably be in outrage over this. But really, it's like chess, except you have like hundreds of different possible pieces, of which your opponent has chosen 6. And you essentially have to, when you're battling, figure out how to outmaneuver your opponent so that your chess pieces outmaneuver his chess pieces or her chess pieces. And there are a lot of different, pretty intricate strategies to that. A lot of things you need to like know and watch out for. And there's a lot of variety because, you know, your different kinds of Pokemon will do different kinds of things, and it gets really interesting when you have a Pokemon that could do a variety of things, and so you have no idea what it is when your opponent like sends it out on the field, like what it's going to do. And I'm realizing this is all sounding pretty vague right now.
Yeah, because there is a lot. There's just an absolutely insane amount of detail that you could really go into. But Jeff, is there anything in this that would that could perhaps like really grab the attention and interest of someone who doesn't really have necessarily a lot of affinity for geek culture?
I think if you like animals and if you like competitive things, Pokemon's very competitive.
So it's basically like a sport for geeks. Maybe we can help relate
Yeah,
it to Joshua
it's like a
in that way.
sport for people who. It's like a sport for people who can't run very well, and it's like dog fighting for people who don't actually want to hurt animals.
So there you go. If you are not necessarily a geek, but you sort of think that dog fighting is cool, except for the hurting of the dogs, and you would like to be involved in sports, but you're not athletic, then Pokemon might just be the thing for you.
I think that pretty much sums it up. Yeah. Also, if you like collecting things, because that's a big part of it too.
Yes, if you're someone who has lots of money that you would otherwise just be sitting in a giant pile of, and you don't know what to do with your giant pile of money, then maybe you would like to invest in Pokemon.
Well, you know, that's one of the great things about Pokemon, though, is it's something that you can collect. Like, I'm talking about collecting the different species in-game without
not the card game.
Money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not the card game. Man, like all card games, it's just a big money hole. Like, you probably don't want to go down that road unless you're the person John just described.
So, Joshua, go ahead and respond to this just a little bit.
So, if I understand correctly, then Pokemon is better off as a game than as a show.
That's my opinion, yeah.
And if I understand correctly, then they're trying to appeal to both grown-ups and to children, kind of, and it's to be compared with chess. And it's kind of like candies, you know. Kids love candies, but there's some adults who also enjoy candy a lot. And there's you have different types of candy. You have like the good candy and you have the bad candy, and different candy has different things about it. Some have like a surprise little fuzzy thing in the middle of it. Some have surprise little gum in the middle of it. And Pokemon is kind of the same way. You can send your Pokemon to the battlefield and you never know what it's going to do.
Pokemon is like a box of
That's right.
That's surprisingly accurate. Like you generally know what yours is going to do, but you never know what the other person's is going to do.
See, if Grandma gives you a piece of candy, you never know what it's going to taste like.
Exactly. I like.
Especially if it's in one of those weird little generic wrappers.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this could be a Bitto honey, or it could be, something that's good that you want to eat.
Yeah. Yeah,
If you
and
haven't-
one of the things I love about Pokemon that I forgot to mention was that it appeals to a variety of different people. Like, there are things to do no matter what you like. So if you like collecting things, you can go around and catch every kind. If you like competitive, you can battle them. If you like just having animals, you can just, there's things built into the game.
You can just nurture your Pokemon.
There's things built into the game where you can, like, feed them, and you don't necessarily have to. Like, somehow they'll sustain even without the things you feed them. But you can.
There seems like, there's a lot of, like, really, like, disturbing things that could just be, like, right below the surface of this if you scratch a little bit.
That's actually very true. So as we've already seen, when I start describing it, like when you start describing it to somebody who's never done it, like, eyebrows start raising all the time, like everything. And what's even more disturbing is like the way these creatures are described. Especially, like, there's a variety of them that is considered to be ghost type. And the amount of these that are described is literally like dragging people's souls to the other world is pretty, like, there's some graphic stuff that goes on.
Pokey blood.
All right. All right, so let's go ahead and let's wrap this one up. Joshy, do you have any final thoughts on this? How likely do you think you would be to download Pokemon Go?
Well, see, that's the thing. I was thinking about this, that maybe it was a blow below the belt for all the nerds when Pokemon kind of had a mainstream vibe to it already. Like, every basic white girl and her friend were out catching Pokemons at one point.
So as somebody who has been a fan of the series since almost the beginning, although it took me until college, because I thought that it was stupid until I actually played the game myself. I was really happy when Pokemon Go came out, because I was like, finally, people who aren't like geeks and nerds can see how charming this is, So I was really excited that, like, the majority of the population had started doing something with Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, the majority of the population probably thought of it as finally the geeks can get out and get some exercise.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of them did.
That's good.
I actually did play Pokemon Go, but I still got exercise somehow.
No worries. All right. Adios.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks, Joshy, for being here, and we will catch you next time. All right. Well, there's Pokemon. And to wrap things up, we have a piece of really cool good news. And this just was really encouraging to me when I saw it. A few weeks ago was Easter. And at Covenant Church in Carrollton, Texas, during their Easter service, Pastor Stephen Hayes revealed to the congregation that they helped retire $10 million worth of medical debt for 4,000 local families who were in need.
Wow.
Yeah. So the way this happens is that when you have this medical debt, like the companies to whom you're in debt will frequently settle for a smaller amount, but their congregation, what they were able to pay off, totally, the original amounts equaled $10 million. So
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's great. It's the kind of thing that the church needs to be doing. And I loved seeing this story. So there's some more details. It's a great story. We'll post a link to it in the show notes. And that's gonna wrap it up for us for this episode. Anything else that you want to add here, Jeff, before we sign off?
Nope, I'm finally shutting up.
Yay, it really was the last thing. All right. Well, Two Geek Soup is recorded at Sound Mind Studios.